Hi, I'm Josiah.
And I'm Colin.
And this is Worth Watching. Let's start the show. Alright, hello and welcome to this episode of Worth Watching. Today we are going to be reviewing The Wolf of Wall Street starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, this plot's really simple. Leonardo DiCaprio plays Jordan Belfort, and his story is just how he became a stockbroker, started off real small, and worked his way to the top of the food chain. Meanwhile, just his lifestyle and the way he lives is just crazy all the time. Drugs, sex, the money. It's just out of hand. And so on, the movie follows his career.
And props has to be given to Leonardo DiCaprio, especially in this movie. The whole cast, but
Sure.
especially Leonardo DiCaprio for the acting. This movie had phenomenal acting all the way through.
Good.
It's probably the best acting I've ever seen from Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mm-hmm.
He just plays that egomaniacal personality so well.
Yeah.
You wonder, like, at moments if he's actually, like, part crazy or psychotic. He's
Yeah.
almost like a psychopath at other points.
Yeah.
And he's a money-hungry, crazy person. Probably, it's going to be the most iconic Wall Street performance since,
He
Michael
literally
Douglas as Gordon
looks
Gekko.
AWOL. I mean, he
Yeah.
goes AWOL in some of the scenes, and you're just like, wow, he's a nut job.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill is a funny guy, but is it just me? But he played a very serious role in this one.
Well, he is kind of the comic relief, but at moments he carries a lot of the story.
He did. I felt he carried a lot of heart, into his character in this one.
Right. Normally, Jonah Hill annoys the heck out of me. I usually cannot
Sure.
stand him, but he worked in this movie because
He
his
did.
character annoys everybody in the story.
Exactly.
His character just works on that level, and he works really well as his character.
Yeah. And this is a 3-hour movie. It's a long movie, but
Yeah.
it's a very well-paced movie.
Mhm.
I no issues on my end with the
absolutely
pacing.
perfectly paced all the way through. You start right in the thick of
Yeah.
it, go with a little flashback, but the thing is, normally I find movies slow down and get boring when they go into a flashback in the
Heck
first.
no.
This flashback was extremely interesting.
Yes.
The whole, it's perfectly paced.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese did a phenomenal job there.
Yeah, perfect pacing all the way through. That being said, I had a little issue with the editing of the film.
Okay.
Just like within each scene, there were not so much with the editing style, but the fact that it felt like there was a lack of continuity between shots where someone's looking one direction and it cuts and they're looking the other direction, things like that. And I've heard that that's his style. I've noticed it in his other films where it's supposed to just be fast and frenetic and disorienting,
Sure.
but it really took me out of the film because rather than feeling like it's a disorienting film, it made me feel like I was watching the editing process of
I
the
didn't
movie.
notice that as much. You always tend to notice that more so than I do. I didn't notice it, but it was a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I got used to it about halfway through the
Yeah.
movie, but it was that getting used to process when it just felt awkward and kind of took me a little out
Yeah,
of it.
I really liked just the bold, gritty feeling that you got from this movie. I don't know if Scorsese if his intention was to just purposely make this movie so outrageously bold that you really took it all in. I mean,
Right,
some
and
of
I mean, apparently a lot of the stuff in this movie actually happened too. I don't know what did,
I
but
believe that, but
it's so insane and over the top. And
It
then
is.
sometimes that's a really good thing because you're just
Yeah.
I was more floored by the parties in this movie than I was by the ones in The Great Gatsby.
Oh, yeah.
But at other times,
Well, just even look at some of the sex scenes
Yeah.
in this. Just the whole nudity and sex in this movie was way overboard.
It was
It did
used
not
to
need to
dramatic
be-
effect, but there was
yes.
probably about 45 minutes of sex scenes in this
way
movie.
too
It was,
much.
Yeah, it was.
The quick party flash scenes that's not as bad, but there was a lot of really.
We don't need to get
scenes.
into too much detail,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
there's probably more than there needed.
And that's
to
what I
be.
mean. I don't know if Scorsese's intention was to just make everything in this movie seem so bold that's actually how they lived. I
Right.
don't know, but that there was way too much of that.
Yeah, it definitely felt over the top. But as a whole, the movie is done really well and it's structured really well.
Yeah.
But on top of being a really well-made movie, it's extremely
It is.
entertaining.
It is.
It's funny. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Funnier than most comedies that came out this year.
There's this one really funny scene, probably halfway in the middle of
Yeah.
the movie, where Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio OD on a very old drug. They take more than they should because it's
They
not.
think it's lost its potency,
yes.
and it kicks in, and they just both go completely insane for about
Yes.
a half-hour scene of the movie, and it's essentially it's a really well played scene. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill act it perfectly. It's done really, really well.
It is.
So yeah, the movie's really great. What would you give it on a rating of A through F?
I have a hard time with this rating, but I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an A. I'd like to give it a B because of just how some of the scenes were just
Over the top yeah.
and way overboard. But I don't think it was enough to really, bring it back down to a B. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an A.
I'm gonna give it. It's just scrapes by with an A. It was almost a very high B just because of the editing problems. And again,
Yeah.
yeah, some of the stuff just felt a little gratuitous.
Yeah.
But it's such a well-made
It
film
is.
just from even a technical standpoint. And the acting is phenomenal.
It is.
It kept me entertained all the way through. I never once was looking at my watch going, how long is this is left? It's 3 hours. It felt shorter than some hour-and-a-half long movies that I've seen.
Did. It definitely did.
It was excellently done.
It's one of Scorsese's best directing, best films
Yep.
he's ever made, and it's definitely going to go in my collection.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching another episode of Worth Watching. Leave a like if you liked the video, leave a comment below, and subscribe if you want to see more.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.